If you ever wanted to hear testimony about someone doing a jigsaw puzzle and then saying what happens when it comes together, then you would like the first witness today. The day ended with the counting of the number of drinks Karen had at the two bars. This is day 20 of the Karen retrial. Welcome to the Roundup, True Crime with Mike. Here I give you an update to current cases so you can quickly catch up on today's or this week's happenings on some public cases. The first witness for the day was Ashley Valier, who started her testimony yesterday. She works for the Massachusetts State Police as a forensic scientist, and her job was to take the pieces of the evidence that were brought in and reassemble them if needed. Yesterday we got to see the pictures of the taillight that was embedded in John's clothing. There was a lot of talk of the different batches of pieces. The pieces were red plastic, and white glass. And let's listen to the key part of her testimony.
And Ms. Blair, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which has now been marked as Exhibit 431?
I do.
And what are we looking at in 431?
So on the left is item 3-1, piece A, and then on the right is piece 1.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 2151. And Ms. Blair, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which has now been marked as Exhibit 432?
I do.
What are we looking at in 432?
That is piece 1 on top of item 3-1 in a mechanical fit.
Is that the mechanical fit that you were talking about earlier in your testimony?
Yes.
So we see her saying that she put all the pieces back together for the taillight. These pieces came from different places. They came from near the curb and from John's clothing. The discussion will later go to how the pieces of the light came from different times that the investigators went to the street. Proctor went back several times to find more pieces. Cross went over chain of custody issues and that it was Proctor who brought in the pieces to Ashley. They went over the people in the lab and how they can't know how the evidence got to them. The next witness was Christina Hanley. She was a forensic scientist with the Massachusetts State Police. Her job was to look at the pieces of evidence under a microscope to compare them. The big thing that came out of this was that the glass from near John's body was consistent with the glass from the glass found on the car's bumper. Cross also went over chain of custody issues and noting Proctor was the person who brought it to the lab. They also went over the dates with trying to say that the items didn't get to the lab for over a month. Then we got to one of the most important witnesses from the state police. Yuri Buchenick was a supervisor for the Massachusetts State Police. He was called in because a body was found and he had the shovel to get out of his driveway that morning. He drove in with his truck because of the snow. He talks about meeting Proctor at the Canton police station. They talked with Sergeant Good for about 25 minutes. He and Proctor then go and talk with Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, and Brian Albert. He describes how they talked to each of them separately. All of them gave the same story that they saw Karen's Lexus outside. It moved a couple times and nobody came in. Next up was Buchenick going to the Good Samaritan Hospital. There he gathered 4 pieces of clothing that was placed in evidence bags. One was the right shoe, pants with the belt, an orange t-shirt, and a gray and blue hoodie. All the items were placed in an evidence bag. In court, Buchenick removed each of the items from the bags. Then there were pictures of the body that we didn't get to see. Next stop for Buchenick was Karen's dad's place since they found out Karen was there. They waited for local police to show up and then went inside to talk to Karen. And now we get Karen's first story. The judge did warn the jury that the story was through another person. Karen arrived at C.F. McCarthy's bar and met Karen and she parked on Washington Street. They then went to the Waterfall Bar. They left and went to Albert's where Karen said she had stomach issues and did not go inside the Albert's. She said she did not see John go inside, and she did a 3-point turn and headed home. She got up in the morning wondering where John was. So that was Karen's first story. After the story, Buchenick asked for Karen's phone, and then they towed the car. We see the video of the car being put in the flatbed, and we see the broken taillight. Then they go to the Sally Port, where we see the video of the car and the people putting tape around the car. The report before the trial was that they didn't have this tape, but there was the video as the car went into the Sally Port. Buchenick then talks about the ring videos that they got. It was over like a 10-day period ending on January 30th. So what we see on one video before the day in question, and we see a full taillight. Some of the people have seen the next video before trial, but it was a video of Karen reversing and either hitting or coming close to hitting John's car. We see no broken pieces on the snow, and as the car leaves the driveway, we see the broken taillight as the car leaves. This was at 5:07 a.m. I think we'll get into more about this early trip later. We then see a car come back with Karen's dad. Karen quickly checks out the taillight in one video. In another video, Karen's brother brushed off the snow on the car but didn't wipe off the right tail light. Then things change and the investigation turned to the bars Karen went to. The video of C.F. McCarthy was shown with Karen joining John. We then watched several videos of Karen ordering drinks. Karen ordered 7 drinks including a round of shots. The receipt showed some Tito's ordered. Then as the waterfall, we see videos of John leaving at 12:10 with a glass. I think tomorrow we will get more about the drinks at that bar. When I talked with people at CrimeCon, they wanted me to do a little more commentary. In terms of today, this was a big day for the Commonwealth. Some of the stories like no video at the Sallyport were shown false. We found out that what the police investigated that day with the clothes, taillight, and the number of drinks Karen had. From what I have heard indirectly, the Commonwealth hasn't shown that John was hit with a car. A jury just has to use common sense, though. Her taillight is not broken leaving the house. Karen is drinking way too much and she admits driving. Pieces of the taillight are in the road and in John's clothing. John has a cut arm and head wounds. Maybe John wasn't hit that hard with the car, but then hit the curb, causing more damage, but that is still hitting him in a car accident. The two big questions are still if Proctor will testify and will Karen testify. We are a long way away from Karen testifying. We will see how cross on Buchenick goes tomorrow. I think he will stand up well. He won't take any crap. We will see how tomorrow goes. Thank you for listening to an episode of The Roundup. Be safe out there, and remember, don't do anything bad that will end up on one of my episodes.